It is Wednesday, December 31st. We are into the final hour of Leland Live for the 2025 year. April Marie here, filling in for Leland. I do not have access to the text line, but you can follow me on X. That's APRYLMARIE, April Marie with a Y. There on X. I'm on Facebook too. I don't Facebook as often. I definitely don't post. Probably have a friend request list really long, but I just don't use it that way. So find me on X. I'm not on all the other social media apps because I literally try. It's a conscious effort on my part to not spend a lot of time online, and so that's why I'm not on all the different apps. If I When I had a radio show, I was on more and did more posting, but now I'm not. Now I write for 1819 and guest host here, and I just don't keep up the social media presence. All right, Janice has been holding on the line. She's got thoughts on I guys. If you have not heard me say this before, not a fan of Candace Owens. I believe she is trading in way too many conspiracy theories, and she has really terrorized both the family, Erica Kirk, and the Turning Point USA team. And I think what she's doing is absolutely wrong. Janice, what are your thoughts on what Candace is doing? Are you a Candace fan?
Hi, April. I appreciate you taking my call this afternoon, and Happy New Year's to
Happy New
you
Year's to you.
and AJ. Um, my issue is with your stance on Candace Owens is she's an investigative reporter. Am I right?
She's not. She's not. She is. Here's the thing about investigative reporting, and I do.
No,
I
I think you claim to be an investigative reporter, and I really love your articles,
Thank you.
everything you're doing. But why would you take a stance against Candace when she's trying to find out what happened to her friend,
But see, she's
Charlie
not.
Kirk?
She's not. She is. If she was just asking questions, legitimate questions, that would be one
Well, she
thing.
is.
Okay,
She's asking legitimate
she
questions.
has made accusations. The killer used the tunnel. The killer was associated with Turning Point staff. Erica Kirk might have known something different. Look at this. She's not. There's a difference between asking questions and making insinuations and accusations. There's a question of, this is a criminal investigation. This isn't just like somebody out there researching a story. This is an actual criminal investigation with charges and an indictment and a trial coming up. Candace is out there demanding answers. I liken this to, okay, I'm all for people asking questions and getting answers. She's asking questions, demanding answers, and when she doesn't get them on her timeline, she's making assumptions about what that means. You look at the flight data. Oh, I'm looking at foreign flight data, and that has been debunked. Her theories on that. Oh, there was Israel interference. Oh, possibly there was French this. There's that. There's a difference between really investigating facts and asking real questions and then coming up with theories out of the air and demanding that they be proven false. And that's what Candace is a
I
lot
don't
of what
think it's
she's doing.
theories out of the air. I think that she has done some investigation, and it's not Israel. There's Egyptian planes that were in the area, and
and and
she
that's
has.
and that's been debunked. I actually pulled up some of her some of the debunked claims that she's made. But here's where I am. Do you think that Candace Owens has been fair in what she has done to both uh, his Charlie's wife Erica, or in the way that she's handled some of his closest friends? His
Well, do you think Erica has acted as a mourning spouse?
I think that Erica,
No,
okay.
she is. She's out there and she's
Ooh.
flying high with the fireworks and flames going when she walks out on the stage. A mourning, a mourning. I lost my husband. You're mourning your husband. Why is she putting herself out there like that?
Right now, and I appreciate the call, Janice, and I hope you have a happy new year. I really want to say, and this is probably one of my biggest pet peeves in terms of this, is this grief monitoring, this grief policing. We all mourn differently, and I will tell you that Erica obviously lived with and loved Charlie with all of her heart. You can see the interviews between them. I've watched them. I've watched, as they've come up, private videos that have now been posted of her and her family and him. And this is a woman who very clearly loved her husband. Candace Owens wasn't even invited to their wedding. Okay, put this in perspective. Now Charlie has called Candace a friend. Charlie defended Candace on stage several times, even after Candace went off the deep end, because he didn't feel like you threw your friends under the bus. But one of the things I think we really just back to the humanity of people, you don't know what she's doing behind closed doors. There were times even after my father's death, and those who haven't followed me for a long time, my daddy, John Fogel, was my person. He was my person. He was my call on during good times, call during bad times, call when I'm just on the road for a long time. He was literally my person. He passed away with COVID. I flew up to Virginia and was able to be with him when they took him off of life support. And within a week or two, I was back on the air. Part of it was if I sat in my grief, it was going to break me. I did. I was back on air. I was cutting jokes a couple weeks later. I was doing the things. Eventually, I stopped. Eventually, I fell apart. Anybody who was around me when this happened will tell you. And I remember calling the station owner of 93.1. I'm not gonna cry down, but I remember calling the station owner and him going, "But you've been okay, right?" And I'm like, I don't know what I was running on, a combination of grief and adrenaline and blocking it out or whatever. But I hit a wall and it fell apart for everybody around me to see. I was being strong for my kids. I was being strong. I just whatever. I see that a little bit of that in Erica, and I'm not going to try to police her grief, but I can tell you I did the same thing when my father died, and it broke me. It broke me in ways that are indescribable, losing him. And I can't imagine what it's like for Erica Kirk to lose her husband and then have to defend against crazy conspiracy theories or people who are saying she's not grieving in the way they grieve or they want her to grieve or expect her to grieve. We have seen her in interviews that have lasted 15 minutes, 30 minutes. We have seen her on the stage of a conference her husband put together and invited speakers to. But we haven't seen her the other 22 hours a day. We haven't been with her. We don't know what she's feeling. There is this idea that one is supposed to grieve in a certain way, and I don't think that's true. I think that it comes in waves. My own personal experience is it comes in waves. I literally teared up. I had to stop there for a second talking about my daddy John, and it's been years. And I'll tell you, no one person that I know can tell you how another is going to lose somebody. But I also know that Erica Kirk knew how much this movement meant for Charlie, and she also understands when you're a part of a big organization like Turning Point, and I have been a part of big organizations. She understands how much heart goes into building something like that, and just as Charlie prioritized his faith and his family, he prioritized this movement of pushing family, faith, and freedom to people across the country. And she wasn't going to let this moment, she wasn't going to let the assassin win. And in her mind, I can see it just as clearly as you guys can see and think, oh, this is wrong. I can see it and go, she's right. She is not going to let the assassin win. She's not going to let Candace and her conspiracy theories win. She's not going to be silenced. Her grief doesn't look normal, but there is no such thing as normal grief. And especially for somebody living a life as public as Charlie lived, she is the closest to him. People know his staff. I know some of his staff. People know his staff. People know his friends. People know people around him. but she has picked up where he has what he had to put down. She has picked up that mic that people wanted stolen, and I'm sure there's a lot of things that fuel her, including just this passion and dedication to the work he was doing. And going back to the Candace Owens, uh, I have a lot of friends along the way. People know this, some people don't. Rick Wilson, like the Rick Wilson, the Lincoln Project Rick Wilson is a personal friend of mine. We've lost touch over the years. We reconnect every now and again. He got married, and sent him a text recently. Um, I will watch and see things Rick Wilson posts, and I'm like, oh, daggum, Rick, daggum, that's not the man I knew 15 years ago. But I would still call Rick a friend. Rick has said horrible, terrible, distasteful things, and I still celebrate his joys. I still get sad when he gets sad if I see something. Um, that was the way Charlie was with Candace. That's the way a lot of people in politics are, especially when you spend a lot of time. Politics is passionate. You can very, very rarely can you survive in this business if you're not passionate. Charlie was came up with Candace. They were friends. You look at the text messages she posts; those are years old. Those are yeah, she's got some recent ones, but most of the messages she's posting is from years ago. They were not as close as I don't believe. I'm not going to judge her, but based on what I've seen, what I've heard, they weren't as close as she puts on. And I think there's a level of respect. Why isn't Erica grieving the way we want her to? Some people want her to. I don't know. I think she's grieving in the way that she knows how. Why is Candace doing this? That I can't find a rational explanation for. Why is she, and I say terrorizing because that's what it is. She making accusations that people are hiding information, making accusations that there are others involved and that people at Turning Point know more than they are saying, or pushing people for answers, demanding meetings, demanding debates, all of these things. I think it's ugly. It's ugly behavior, and we have to call it ugly. I say ugly because I have kids, and that's what we describe that how we describe that behavior in our house. But this is something I take very personally. And a big part of it is because when you get to, I live here in Birmingham now, but before I lived here in Birmingham, I was in Washington, D.C. Before I started writing for 1819 and doing radio, I was involved in the Tea Party movement. I met Andrew Breitbart. Heck, I met Andrew Breitbart in a hot tub in Cancun. Figure that one out. I can tell. Maybe I'll talk about that one later. We all went. I say we all. A group of us went. A big middle-sized group, a couple dozen of us went to protest a climate change conference in Cancun, Mexico. That's where I was when I met Breitbart. I have met a number of the national figures that we talk about. I run in the same circles that Charlie ran, and it's a very small, close-knit group. And to see Candace terrorizing people in Charlie's orbit, close orbit, as they mourn his death, and maybe because they don't mourn it the way she wants them to mourn it, it frustrates me to no end. All right, I'm going to take a overdue break, and then I'm going to get into back some of the stories I had picked out for today. I was talking about the 2026 elections. We may revisit that, some of the highs and lows. I'll take y'all's calls if y'all want to talk about New Year's. If you want to continue the conversation about Candace, whatever it is, 545-9950. We'll be back in just a minute. You're listening to Leland Live with April Marie. Liter- Good afternoon. Good evening. It's 5:24. I uh I was I was looking up all of the different ways that the Egyptian plane theories like some of this you got to just think say it out loud. Candace Owens thinks that there were Egyptian planes following Erica Kirk. Um, the Egyptian government, and like I said, she is the Egyptians, the Israelis. There's the French. There's lots of people involved in these Candace Owen conspiracy theories. It's bonkers. It's bonkers. I do investigative journalism, and you start with a question or a premise. And sometimes you pull that string and you start looking into data, and sometimes it pans out, sometimes it doesn't. But what you don't do is you don't take information that, and there used to be a reporter, I won't say his name, there used to be a reporter in Alabama who did the same thing. It would be like, I'm going to take this dot over here and this dot over here, and I'm gonna assume a connection, even if I can't point to it. It's gonna be like this data is here and this data is here. It's a very, ice cream sales are it's that correlation is not causation kind of thing where you're like, okay, these two things could happen. There could be planes refueling and there can be a person who's over here, but that doesn't mean the planes are chose where they're refueling because of the person over here. There's just it frustrates me. Um, and one thing that I will say in all of this, and this is something I've talked about even on 99.5 before, is this idea that we as a public, we as a people we can demand answers for of people of everything. There are things where we as the public should have answers. That's why we have public record laws, right? This is why we have FOIA laws. This is why we have open sunshine laws. This is why we have open meetings acts and that sort of thing, is because we should be able to get answers on our questions. And then there is a level of unreasonableness to asking certain questions. And I say it not because it's, oh, there's some things off limits, but there are some things you're like, oh my goodness, for the love. I question a lot of even Alabama's open record laws. Like, okay, we need more transparency. There should be more online. But then there are individuals who will literally, and I've learned this during the last, I don't want to say year, but several years, where there are individuals who will literally come up with theories or demand documents all day, every day, and you basically have to have a full-time staffer at a city to deal with one person's crazed ideas. I found myself as an investigative reporter chasing stories where it's like, oh, one or two calls or one or two clicks, and I can debunk that, and that's that. And so Candace has been consistently, oh my gosh, she's being sued by the the macaroons, whose name I did not say right there. They're not the cookies. The French president and his wife for saying that the wife was a dude. And they here's what's crazy is her lawyers literally provided like, here's documents, letters from the doctors. Here's things. You got to stop saying this defamatory thing. And Candace hasn't stopped. And even recently she claimed that they hired a hitman. At some point you go, there's a break with reality here. What's happening? What's this person's objectives? And yeah, so that's that. All right, back on to some of the things I was talking about. I mentioned earlier the 2026 elections. I'm really excited about the idea of a Tuberville administration. Interested in the U.S. Senate race. It's fun to watch Jared Hudson pick up steam, just because I like it when people come out of. I think everybody needs a race. I wouldn't hurt my feelings if Tommy Tuberville actually got a credible opponent. I think we get stronger, better candidates when they do have competitive primaries, competitive races. That's why I'm excited about the U.S. Senate race and the lieutenant governor's race. I think both of those are going to be heated and fun to watch, especially as somebody who pays attention to those things. We've got some incumbents even in the area. I saw, and I didn't cover it myself, but I saw on 1819 News that Dan Roberts has picked up a primary opponent for this next election cycle. I think that's good. I think that no person should be unchallenged. I know I'm excited about Tuberville, but if someone else were credible to get in, I would we'd pay attention to them too. I would pay attention to them as a person. 1819 does not endorse. So when you hear me fawn over a candidate, by the way, no, that's not an endorsement. Um, but I will say there's a lot to look forward to in 2026. I mentioned all of these municipal races and all of these new mayors. I think that there's going to be great things for our state and on the federal level. As I've been on air here, it looks like there's more developments and more push and pull and push back about the Minnesota fraud. And now the federal government is saying we're going to change our policies of who we distribute aid to. We'll get into some of those changes. HHS freezing child care payments, not just to Minnesota now, all states, we're going to change the way we do these payments to stop fraud. It's going to be interesting to see. I'll get to those headlines. Trump vetoing some bills, these things and more coming up in our final half hour of the Leland Live Show in 2025. Back in just a minute. You're listening to April Marie. Well, good afternoon. Good evening, everyone. April Marie here, filling in for Leland. Back to my crazy headlines before I maybe get into a little bit more politics. We'll see what this last half hour brings. Um, Crossing guard, this is a story, a British crossing guard was banned from giving high fives to kids because drivers complained about the delay. So here it is, a local media story. The crossing guard, which they called Lollipop Man in Britain, was forced to retire his signature high fiving move because it upset some drivers that they had to wait for him to give all of his high fives. By the way, what is wrong with people? Come on now. How big a hurry can you be in that kids getting a high five from the crossing guard guy upsets you? It goes back to that. Take a deep breath. Exhale. You're going to be all right. That extra couple seconds not going to ruin your day. Probably not. This is not a life or death situation for most people most days in terms of the time you would take watching this crossing guard do it. It's kind of crazy to me, the what I would call the overreaction of some schools or school districts of things. That was, of course, out of Britain. We saw just last week a school bus driver who she put up a sign, English only, on her bus. She said it was because the kids who were Spanish speaking would talk to each other and then in Spanish, so she wouldn't know what was happening or about to happen, and they were picking on other kids. And she wanted to prevent that. She said it was a way to keep the kids on her bus safe and for her to know what was going on. She was fired from that because we just have people in this country who want to see the bad even in good things. I will say, speaking of good things, having this on my mind from coming off the Turning Point USA, and it was on my list of things to talk about Monday or Tuesday, that conference that they had. I was really frustrated by the infighting that took place. You're a part of the movement, we're a part of the movement. We can all be a part of the movement. And when we have the opportunity to, as the people that did on that stage in Arizona, when you have the opportunity to shape policy or talk about carrying on a legacy, we can and should do better than what we saw that on that stage. But one thing that made me happy, I don't know how many of y'all saw the viral video of the woman who worked at Target, and she was wearing the shirt that Candace owned, that Charlie Kirk was wearing when he passed, when he was assassinated. She was wearing a Freedom shirt, and a lefty woman videoed herself, kind of, oh, they're telling this lady she shouldn't be wearing that shirt and this, that, and the other. Well, a fundraiser was set up for the woman. She was flown to the Turning Point USA event. She got to meet Erica Kirk on stage. That that is the kind of happy I'm here for. That is the kind of, let's talk. And I'm a sap. We've established this already. I'm a sap who cries at cartoons and movies I've seen 100 times. But this positive, let's be a positive force. And I guess that's one of my biggest problems with Candace is it's all negative all the time. We have so much to celebrate. Even as a country, the direction that Trump is taking us in, as voters who are paying attention and starting to wake up to our opportunity to take back this country. When Trump ran the first time and he made such immigration such a big deal, the left tried to say, "Oh, well, you are a racist, you are a bigot, you are that, you are the other," and they did that throughout Trump's first presidency. They did that throughout Biden's term, and turn around now, and you've got a real effort to clean up this country in ways that we're deporting criminals, we're deporting people, giving people the opportunity to take themselves home. You've got a lot of things, good things going on in this country we should be celebrating. And that's what I want to see. We've got people standing up for freedom. We got Bible sales going up. You just look at on campuses in both schools, K-12 schools and colleges, campuses of conservative groups, where even on liberal campuses, or even where there hasn't been a big show, we've got people standing up and saying, "Okay, I'm unafraid. I'm unafraid to talk about my faith. I'm unafraid to talk about my love of this nation. I'm unafraid to talk about things that I talk frequently about the gender issues and what was pushed onto the radical ideas pushed onto our kids." We now have people post Charlie Kirk's assassination saying, we need more of what he was doing. I guess when I look at Erica, this movement, there's a wave that she is being swept up and carried in through her grief, of people who have taken up and said, let's talk about the things Charlie was talking about. Let's talk about doing. Let's continue to get on these campuses. Our very own John Wall, the chairman of the Alabama Republican Party, had started before Charlie's death and continued them after. These, chats with the chairman. It's probably not the name of it. I don't remember the actual name of it. But Stump the Chairman, I think is what they called it. Conversations on college campuses. Well, let's talk about politics in a way that they're not hearing in the classroom. They're not reading in their textbooks. They're not getting from the mainstream media. Let's talk about these ideas. J.K. Rowling is a good example of this. This is a woman who has said she's a big fan. She's a big fan of freedom of speech. She's a big fan of individual rights. She wants men out of women's spaces, and she has been painted as a hateful bigot. And over the years, everything she talked about, and she came at this originally from a perspective of somebody who had been abused, someone who understands the need for safety in same-sex spaces. And she said, "Look, I'm gonna take this, and I'm gonna take it away from the LGBTQ community and say, as an adult, do whatever you want, but do it in a way that doesn't infringe on other people's rights." She stood alone for a long time. She stood as one of the most public people talking about this. And now we've got a nation of people talking about this, talking about saving children, talking about the importance of women's spaces in sports. And it's almost like vindication, because you would see it. Charlie would talk about the people would talk about it. Oh, J.K. Rowling's full of hate. She hates transgender. No, she doesn't. She loves women. She loves safe spaces. She loves common sense. A man can't become a woman. We as a nation, even in the last year since Trump was elected, we have seen the evolution of common sense and people, common solutions coming out, and people saying, call me whatever names you're going to call me, which I've said that for a while now. Call me whatever you want to say. Call me. Make whatever accusations you want to make. We're going to continue to talk the truth. We're going to continue to tell the truth. We're going to continue to stand up for what's right. Sometimes we're going to say the wrong thing. Sometimes we're going to be wrong, and we'll correct that as we go. But no more of this fear of you're going to call me a name. I'm going to talk about the Somali fraud. The governor of Minnesota came out, Tim Walz, and came out and said, "Oh, well, this is all racism. They're only mad because Somalis don't look like them." No, that's not at all. And as a matter of fact, not only are we going to dismiss that claim, we're going to dismiss it and laugh at it. We're going to tell you you're wrong. We're going to mock you for wanting to use that as an out or excuse when we know and have seen proof of fraud with our own eyes. You want to talk about investigative journalism? That's what has happened. What brought this story to light, and what is going to bring stories like it to light coming out into this next year. And I'm here for it, all for it. Okay, we've got David on the line. Let's see what David has to say. Hey, David.
Hey, April, me. Happy New Year.
Good to hear from you. Thank you.
I enjoy your show when you come in and take care of all the good stuff you got going on. But anyway, you were spot on with Candace Owens. The biggest disappointment I've seen this last year or two is with her. She was one of the brightest stars coming in on the conservative and Christian movement. She was on TV shows.
Yep.
Just knocking it out of the park.
She was
when
really given an opportunity.
Ladies would say you're racist or you're blind, and then white liberal women would try to take her on. She would knock it out of the park. Even before Congress, there was a YouTube video where every white liberal tried to say, "No, you're really, being held in chains," and she knocked it. She put them off, made them look like 2-year-olds, and it's so sad to see the Brits just disappear. But you're totally correct. How she got off the deep end, I
And
have
you
no
know,
idea.
and that's one of those things where you hope for her that she comes back, right? Like, and I've seen it. I've seen it before. People, for whatever reason, she's getting a lot of attention now. She's getting a lot of clicks, a lot of views. But at some point, hopefully, she has and come to Jesus, the actual come to Jesus, where she goes, what am I doing? Is this good for the movement? Is this true? Is this honest? Is this honoring? Is this honoring the memory of Charlie? And I hope she comes back because she has, and she's done a good job in the past. And when people talk about her friendship with Charlie, they're talking about those early years where she was fighting the good fight and making great arguments and doing good work. And I hopefully she gets back there.
Yeah, I was a financial contributor to her first movement.
Wow.
Lexit, you remember it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Started
I do.
And it was doing really well because she was going to African Americans and say, hey, this is what they're teaching you and brainwashing you with. And here's the truth. I can make it. You can make it. Remember, the Democratic Party doesn't want success or happiness for anybody.
Oh, no.
If you don't follow their plan.
The victim mentality gets votes. Us against them. And that's one thing that frustrates me to no end because more often than not, we agree on the issues. We're Americans. And we want our kids to read at grade level. I don't think I know anybody who doesn't. We want the homeless people to be taken care of when and where they can be. We want mental health care. We want substance abuse treatment. We want all of these things. And there's a lot more that we have that we can agree on than we can't. And the left does everything they can to undermine that idea.
Exactly. If they see someone rising, here's one quick point I want to tell you about. I'm a lot older than you. So back in the 70s and 80s, when a young African-American football player began to make the big time and make the big bucks, it was celebrated. Yep. It was mentioned, wow, he got this contract, this amount of money. Nowadays, these young black Americans are told, don't celebrate. Remember, you're still a slave. You're still in chains. And no matter how much millions you get, remember, tell everybody it's a horrible America because that's what they could. Even Oprah Winfrey could have done so much good. She still preaches.
Colin Kirkpatrick is and I butchered his last name, as I do bad last names. But you look at what happened with the NFL and this taking a knee and the BLM falling for all the George Floyd nonsense. There is an active effort in this nation to undermine us seeing one another as neighbors and as brothers and sisters in Christ and pitting us against one another. And the left does such a great job of it. We don't need people like Candace piling on.
That's right. Well,
right.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy
God
New
bless
Year.
You. Bye-bye.
Thanks. All right. We are with that. We're going to take our last break before we come out and close the new year. I'll chat with AJ a little bit as he gets ready for breaking bread and the next hour. You guys hold tight. April Marie here, filling in for Leland. Back in a minute. Oh, Lord, have mercy.
I was just trying to find something because
That-
I was trying to find the. Hold on, let me see.
I,
If I
I
can
don't
get it.
know a lot, but I know Pink Pony Club is most certainly not country. And that is a whole, like, can I tell you, as a mama, it is so hard to when these songs. By the way, I sung lots of crazy music when I was a kid. Didn't know what I was singing about half the time. But some of these songs I put on for my kids, and I'm like, I'm not gonna have my kids singing about getting on a pole. Yeah, AJ failed me with that one. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, actually, I know the two songs are not the same. So, but since it's the last segment of the show,
It is the last segment,
right?
It is.
So,
What-
I gotta do it right.
Okay, what do you got now?
Okay.
Let's see what we're coming back to.
Hold on, let's start over. Hold on.
You're listening to Leland Live. I just said Straight Talk. Leland Live.
Okay, let's take it. Hold on. Maybe I should do the very first one.
I think I know what this is.
Should old
There you
acquaintance be forgot and
The end of
never
2025, you
brought
guys.
to
Heading into
mind?
2026.
Should
April Marie
old
here using my bedtime
acquaintance
story voice.
be forgot and all
It's been a good year.
Now I'm surprised you knew about Pink Pony. That's the
It's so true.
Lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne will take a cup of kindness yet for old
I like it. April Marie here. I want to wish you guys a happy 2026. I hope it's full of positive things for you personally, for our communities, for the state, and for the nation, for the love. We could use a positive year with less fighting. I like watching you listening to this music, AJ.
I'm just vibing out right now. As we close the chapter
We are closing a chapter.
called 2025.
I know you've got another hour to talk about what 2025 meant to you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about what it meant to me. We'll talk about maybe traditions.
Mm.
Also, Will's son Marley's birthday's today.
Oh, nice.
Yes, happy birthday, Marley.
Happy birthday, Marley. I
Yeah.
love that.
And everybody else who are New Year Eve babies, happy birthday. And happy birthday for those who are celebrating their birthday on January 1.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we won't be here.
No,
There will be
we'll be here in spirit.
We will be here in spirit.
Yeah.
And next time you hear Leland live, Leland will be back, right?
Yeah.
Leland coming back on Monday.
Yeah, Monday. It'll be back
So,
live,
Yeah.
coming out of your radio.
Mhm.
Leaving live on your radio. Come on.
Do you do that when you're like in your head? Because that was your voice.
I ad-libbed that.
I know.
Yeah, like when we had the guy actually sing Leland Live from the Dexter Teens,
Mhm.
and I was just kind of sitting in the back while he was recording that, and I was like, Leland Live on your radio. Leland Live on your radio. Come on. They were like, hey, you add that to the.
Step up to a mic.
Yeah.
Let's add that.
I was like, so, where's my inspiration? Like, what, you gotta feel
Yeah,
the song,
you
right?
need-
So
you
people
need
can
that.
feel the emotion coming out of the lyrics.
Well, I tell you what, I have big hopes for 2026. 2025 was a surprising year for me.
Mhm.
If I had to use a word to describe 2025, I joined 1819. I got to do a lot of cool coverage. We've talked about this over the last couple days. It's been a series, right? So it started with the municipalities and covering the municipal elections. Then I moved on to universities and colleges and K-12, looking at education across the state. I looking at that, it's fun to see where progress has been made, where you cover an election cycle and you cover, for lack of a better way to put it, shenanigans going on in a city, or you cover, something a candidate's trying to hide, and you put it out there, and you see the voters respond. That's a really cool thing. You're getting information. I say a lot of good guys won elections, and a lot of, us in the news, we don't say who to vote for or against. We put the information out there and you do what you will with it. And I feel really strongly. It was a surprising year in terms of some of the investigations I got to be a part of. And I hope you guys will hear me talk about 1819. There's a lot of places to get your news out there, but we are out there really pounding the pavement, trying to get the stories that aren't told anywhere else. And I think that's a really cool thing to be a part of. So tomorrow will be the 1-year anniversary of me with 1819. So I'm excited for that.
Jan 1?
Jan 1 was
Wow.
my starting with 1819. And,
Sweet.
and getting to work with Jeff Poor, who, I tease him. He teases me. He's like, I was telling on the way into the studio, I was talking to a mutual friend about him. He's like the big brother I didn't know I needed in my life.
I just need his beard.
You need Brian Dawson's beard.
Yeah, Brian Dawson's beard. I want Brian Dawson's beard.
It's mesmerizing. It's one of those I'm like, huh.
Yeah. Jeff Poor, I always like to mess with him too, because he always asks me at the end of the show like how he's been doing.
Oh, that's funny.
And I'm trying to find I always try to find the worst score just to pick with him.
So Jeff, coming from Andrew McLean's show to my show to me doing his show is like, wow. Big difference in terms of what we talk about and style and tone and all that stuff. I was pretty much the whole way here. Every other topic ended up being male body parts. There was a whole theme happening.
You started it.
I accidentally started it last night.
I mean, that's how I no.
Oh no, I don't know that anybody accidentally started the conversation Andrew and David were having when I watched. I think that was very purposeful on their parts, but Jeff Poor and I are the same way, where you get whiplash going from a Jeff Poor program to an April Marie program, because Jeff Poor talks like this.
Oh, I'll pick one. I'll be like, man, he be pausing like, I'll be like, and I have to be like, stop it, like, okay, he's there.
I'll do a dramatic pause every now and again,
mm-hmm.
but he will legit. His just normal talking. Is like this.
He thinks what he's gonna say next.
Well, and that's how he has less on air, not bloopers, but on air, like, oh, can I put that back? Because he's thinking before he talks, whereas the words are out, broadcast over the air, and then I'm like, oh, maybe I should put that one back.
Yeah, I probably need to have like the Jeff Poor. See, I just paused there.
Yeah.
Because what I wanted to say,
does.
then, I tend to be like, okay, I'm about to get myself in trouble.
So it's funny because I will have said something. I will get a text about, did you say that about that? Did you do that thing about that? And I'm like, yep. And it was not there. I tell my kids, I'm trying to teach my kids, there are inside your head thoughts, and then there are things that come outside come out your mouth thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And those aren't necessarily the same. I have not learned that. I'm 44 years old. I'm a talk radio guest host. I clearly have not learned that lesson, because sometimes things come out of my mouth. And then there are times things come out of my mouth, like the wood chipper, the Bibb County situation, and someone called in about that, and then we didn't get to them. But that, I'm telling you what, that was a Dale Jackson thing, and then he caught a lot of grief for talking about it, and I'm like, nah, he's right. That's the only thing I can think of when we go to that. All right, looking at next year, I really want you guys continue listening to 99.5, continue reading 1819. Text on the text line. Give feedback to the people and voices you hear here. If you're not following me on social media, you can find me on X. That's APRYLMARIE. When everybody gets back next week, you guys, as you're back in the office, don't forget to check out their new YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
You can see their smiling faces. It's going to be an interesting change. I think watching Dixon and Valerie is going to be Dixon and Vining. That'll be the fun one.
Yeah.
All right. Have a very, very happy New Year. If you are drinking this evening and you're going out, use an Uber. Do not drink and drive. Do not drink and drive. I'm going to say it again. Do not drink and drive. There are no excuses for that. Keep yourselves and others safe.
And pack your patience.
And pack your patience. That's a good one.
Yes, pack your patience.
There you go.
Do not stress yourself out. And just enjoy the last couple of hours of 2025. And may you have a blessed and wonderful an exciting 2026.
There you go. Yeah, you did that in your best Jeff Four voice.
I did.
I like it.
I did.
I like it.
Yes.
So
Now, stay tuned.
stay tuned for Breaking
Bread.
Bread. I'm gonna tell them we did that.
Yes. All right. Well, I'll talk to you next hour, but after that,
I'll
Lena
talk to
Live.
y'all next year.
Talk to you next year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Goodbye, AJ.